Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Press Box Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, April 24th, 2024. Welcome to Philly Press Box Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the Edge of Philly Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, the Sixers have dug a huge hole, falling behind the Knicks 2-0. Certainly plenty to talk about with those two games. The Phillies have been on fire until last night, winning 7 in a row. Flyers are kind of quiet for now, but the Eagles and the NFL take center stage tomorrow night with round 1 of the draft. Who will the Eagles pick? As always, there's plenty to talk about in Philly sports.
Yeah, I got to tell you, that Sixers loss Monday night is still eating at me, man. Blowing a 5-point lead with, a half minute left, just unacceptable. We will get to that later, I know. The Phillies had that great streak and gained nothing on the Braves. This happened last year, too. The Braves also red hot. And yes, we will be speaking here on Draft Night Eve with a guy who's been around for a lot of these events, many, many years.
Yeah, we have a great guest tonight, making a return visit to Philly Press Box Radio. Talk NFL draft, and one of our very longest times guests as we get ready for our 10th anniversary, Mark Eckel is going to be joining us.
Yeah, we've pulled him out of his Myrtle Beach chair and propped him up once again. Talk a little football with us.
That's right. So, hey, there's nothing like talking football in April, so let's get to it. Let's welcome Mark Eckel back to Philly Press Box Radio. Mark, welcome.
How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Hey, Mark.
You know, I was going to ask today. I was thinking about it during the day. How long you got? It is. I thought it was about 10 years. So you're already getting close to your 10th anniversary.
April 30th, 2014.
Next
so we
week.
will be celebrating our 10th anniversary next year. How about that?
I was thinking about, because I've been gone 7 years.
Yeah.
Really?
I know, right?
Wow.
And I know, like, you guys started a few years before I left. So, 10 years. Wow. That's great.
So, yeah, we will celebrate next year, May 1st, one day late. And this is your 20th visit over the 10 years. You're still 4th overall, behind
Well,
Brandon.
The fact I haven't been around in 7 years, that's pretty good.
Right. If you hadn't moved, you'd be higher. That's for sure.
Say, I think that might be. I'd join you somewhere when you're at the Irish Rover. I lived 2 minutes away from the Irish Rover. So.
Brandon Lee Gouton of Bleeding Green Nation has been on 24 times. Ray Didinger, your pal, 22 times. D. Lynham, 21. And now this is your 20th. So That's pretty good company.
Hey, real good company.
All right. So you're down in Myrtle Beach, but you're still aware of what's going on with the Eagles, of course, and the NFL in general. They had that late season meltdown, the Eagles did. They've also lost a few guys to retirement or trade, brought a few new faces in, like Saquon Barkley, of course. But they've fired both coordinators, hired Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio. What's your overall take on, the comings and goings of the Eagles over the last few months?
Well, they had to do something, right? I mean, after that, like you said, a major collapse. I mean, they made the playoffs because they got off to such a great start. If you start 10-1, you're probably going to make the playoffs. You had enough wins in the bank. But that was, and then the Tampa Bay game was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching that game. I've never seen a team that seemed to not care. They played like they didn't care now. Milt Williams, the defense line, to me, he was the only guy on defense that acted like he wanted, that he even cared a little bit. The rest of them were worried about their vacations. I mean, it was awful. That was an awful performance in a playoff game. The Arizona game was terrible. There was a lot of bad games down the stretch, obviously, but the playoff game was just, I don't know. So something had to happen. They could have fired Sirianni. I would not have been totally surprised if they did. But instead, they're giving him another chance, I guess, another year, however you want to look at it. I would think he's on a little bit of a short rope, but they brought in 2 experienced coordinators, and that was the little bit of a mistake I thought they made last year when they lost Gannon and Steichen, 2 obviously very good coordinators that are Steichen. The job he did in Indianapolis last year, I can't say enough about that. He took a team that I thought was going to win 3 games, and they won 9, and he lost his quarterback. So yeah, he did that. He did. And Gannon, the Cardinals weren't good, but you kind of knew they weren't. But they were competitive. I mean, they were in games. They looked like a team that's going the right way. So both of those guys, but I didn't like the defensive hire at all. I don't remember decide. He had his resume wasn't very strong. I thought they were going to go that way. They should have just kept Denard Wilson, who was the players seemed to really like. Mm-hmm. And then offensively, they do keep the guy in house, but he's Jalen Hurts' best friend. That's not going to work. You don't want. I mean, I didn't like. I'll be honest. I didn't like either of those hires. So now they have Vic Fangio, who's been around forever. Kellen Moore, who has a good resume. My only concern, and you guys are up there, you know more than I do. Vic Fangio. Like Eagle fans love the old Buddy Ryan defense. That's why they still like Buddy Ryan. They want blitzing and they want aggressive and they want to knock you out and they want to do stuff. Vic Fangio kind of invented bend but don't break. I mean, right? That's his style. Play to 3-4, sit back in soft zones, make the other team make a mistake somehow, right? That's not what Eagle fans like. And again, you can't hire for the fans, but I'm just saying that's not the kind of guy that's going to go over well unless they're winning. If they're winning, everything's good. And then Kellen Moore, what do Eagle fans always want? Run the ball. You throw too much. Kellen Moore never runs the ball. He throws. That's why Dallas got rid of him. They thought he threw the ball too much. Now you sign Saquon Barkley to a pretty good contract. You might want to give him the ball a couple times. So that's going to be. I'm interested to see how that plays out because Kellen Moore is not a big fan of running the ball.
Hey, Mark, one thing that I talked about as the end of the season came to a close was they didn't lose those games in my mind on Sunday. They lost them during the week. They came unprepared to play those last handful of games, and it almost looked like the exact same game plan each week, and it was bad each week. And, of course, you'll lose each week because
it got worse each week, Bill.
Yeah. They just – there were no adjustments as the season went on.
That's why I wouldn't have been surprised. And I know the guy made the playoffs 3 years in a row. I understand that. And that's probably why he's still employed because it is, I covered the league for a long time. It's not easy to make the playoffs. People think it's automatic. No, this is the NFL. I mean, it's tough. So I'm guessing that, but you're right. Something was wrong. Now, I'm not there every day like I used to be, so I can't blame it all on Sirianni, but he is the head coach. I mean, if they're not prepared, you can put it on the coordinators, but you're the boss. I mean,
right?
It's on you.
Absolutely.
Well, Mark, the NFL draft is happening Thursday through Saturday. And before you discuss any specific players, what positions are deepest in this year's draft pool?
In my opinion, the deepest are the offensive line, especially the interior offensive line. I do a series of draft stories for PackerReport.com. And I break it down. I talked to 3 different scouts that I'm still close with, and I asked them for their top 5. One scout told me this is the deepest he's ever seen the interior guards and centers. He said usually, like almost every year, the tackles are better than the guards and centers. He said this is one of the first years he can remember where he thinks the guards and centers are actually better than the tackles. But and there's some good tackles too. So offensive line, and then cornerback, it's not great. In terms of I don't think there's any, give me a great Patrick Surtain, for example, or nobody. I don't think there's going to be a corner that goes top 10 or even top. They'll start to go in the teens. But there's there's your list. Every one of those guys up there is a pretty good player. But again, like last year, there was Witherspoon and Gonzalez. I don't think any of those guys are as good as Witherspoon or Gonzalez. But there's just a lot of them. Like you'll be getting good corners in the second and third round this year.
Well, what about the quarterback position, Mark? It seems like there's going to be a run on QBs, maybe even 5 of the first 8 or 5 of the first 10. If they go, depending on what the Giants do, they're kind of stuck with Daniel Jones. If they try to do something else there could be 5 quarterbacks picked in the top 10.
Yeah, and 6 overall.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good – if you're the Eagles – picking at 22, right? That's what they're 22.
Yep.
And you don't need a quarterback. I mean, you don't want a quarterback, right? So by picking, if 6 go ahead of the Eagles, that's like having a 16th pick, right? I mean, because quarterbacks aren't on your board. So if those 6 quarterbacks go, you're getting a guy that you normally wouldn't get at 22. You're getting a guy that should be in the top 16 picks or so. So that helps the teams picking, in the 20s that don't need a quarterback, the Eagles, the Packers, the Cowboys, whoever. That's good. I mean, they keep taking those quarterbacks, right? Keep taking them. Get them, because we weren't taking them, but we'll get a better player than we normally would, especially defense. I think quarterbacks are going to go early, obviously. I think some wide receivers, at least 3, are going to go off the board pretty early.
Yep.
And some offensive linemen. So if you're looking for defense, you're going to get a good defense. You're going to get if you're in from 20 to 32, and you want a defensive player, you're going to get one that you probably shouldn't have gotten in most other years.
We're hearing a lot of buzz that Howie Roseman, who loves to do draft night trades, will consider strongly moving up. I'm not sure why, but it could be for a cornerback. There is that thought, although we know they don't very often take cornerbacks in the first round. It could be for an offensive lineman. I don't think they would go for a position player, but do you think they will trade up?
With Howie, you never know, because he said, he could trade back. I mean, he likes to make moves. I'll give him that. He likes to make moves on draft day. Now, I don't know what he's going to do. I wouldn't trade up if I were the Eagles. I look at this roster and I'm looking at it from afar. They need some bodies. Like they're top heavy, the Eagles. They have a very good running back now in Saquon Barkley. They have 2 outstanding wide receivers in Smith and Brown. They still have Lane Johnson, and they have the other kid, Jordan Mailata. So they have 2 good tackles. But then I look like they're very. After those 2 tackles, they're kind of thin on the offensive line, right? They could probably use some backups on, a wide receiver or a tight end. I mean, I like the starters, but they need some, you need depth too. And on defense, they need everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes, they do.
I don't mean that in a not, but I mean, they're going to a 3-4, right? So right now, their starting 3 on the 3-4 would be Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Milt Williams. Now, Milt Williams played well at times last year, but he was kind of a rotation guy. Can he be a full-time guy? I don't know. Nobody knows until he does it. Jordan Davis has shown that he can't play a whole game. He plays about 20 snaps a game, right? Carter's pretty good. Carter, I think, will be, although he kind of tailed off at the end last year. You need depth on the defensive line. You can't ask your 3 starters to play 70 plays a game or 60 plays a game. That's just too much. You need to rotate. I don't even know who their 4th guy is. It's a bunch of guys I never heard of. So they definitely need help on the defensive line. At linebacker, I mean, they traded their best. Their defense lost, in my opinion, their stable guy in Fletcher Cox. Now he retired. Can't blame him. He had a good, very good. I don't know how many years it's been, whatever it was. But he was, it's time. But he could still play. It wasn't like he was on. He played pretty well, I thought, most of last year. So, but he's gone. They trade Reddick for money. I guess it was money related, but whatever. They still don't have him. I thought he was their best player. So their edge rushers now going into the 3-4 are going to be the kid Huff, who they got from the Jets, who's a good pass rusher. Yes, he can get to the quarterback, but I'm told against the run he leaves a lot to be desired. And then Sweat, I guess, will be the other one, but he's in the last year of his contract.
Right.
And the Eagles usually
and 85-year-old Brandon Graham also.
I love Brandon, but to be honest, I thought he'd retire before Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
But he's still there. But so they need help, an outside linebacker. They need help on the defensive line. They certainly do need. I mean, corner. I don't think it's as big a need as every Eagle fan in the country does. I mean, they could use one. Don't get me wrong, and they'll take one somewhere. But they have some young guys that I think they like. I think they like Ringo, who they took in the 3rd round last year from their favorite school, Georgia. Mm-hmm. And they got the kid that was suspended for a year for
Isaiah Rodgers.
Now he got reinstated, correct?
Yep.
I just saw that today. He got reinstated. So they're not as shallow at corner. And they still have the starters are Slay and Bradbury. And they got Maddox. He's back, right? So they're not as – I mean, you could say what you want about Bradbury. He had a bad year. Slay's getting older. So they could use some reinforcements, but they're not nearly as thin there as they are up front and an outside linebacker. So, yeah, they do need bodies. So I'm not giving up for them to move up from 22 to get, if they want it, Terry and Arnold, say the corner from Alabama, who's probably the top corner in the draft, they're going to have to get to like 12 or 13. That's going to cost them a first and a second. I don't know if I want to give up that much to get a guy that's good, but not that much better than the guy you could get later. Like I said, corner is pretty deep. So I'm not trading up if I'm the Eagles, the only guy I would trade up for is the kid Murphy from Texas, the big defensive line. I think he's going to be a star. But I don't know. Again, how far do you have to go to get him? I'm not sure. He could go, 11 or 10 or somewhere like that. And he wouldn't go 10. That's the Jets. But he's going to go. He could go as high as 8 to Atlanta. So again, I know Howie likes to make moves. He really does. Now he might make a subtle move. I could, maybe go from 22 to 19 if like somebody he likes starts to fall a little bit. I don't see a major move. They don't have a third round. They have 2 2s, but they don't have a third. They have a bunch of 5s, but I don't know what's left in the 5th round. But I would be against them trading up.
Hey, Mark, Ryan actually made this comment, and it was kind of where I was going to go. Pass coverage, pass defense. Eagles can't rely on the pass rush. They're going to a 3-4, as you mentioned. Do they have the linebackers to play a 3-4? Not necessarily on the edges, but in the middle. Do they have tough enough guys that can stop the run up there and be the guys we need? I
don't think so. Listen, they took Nakobe Dean a couple years ago, and everybody, including our good friend Ray Didinger, said, "Oh my God, it's a steal of the draft." I kept saying, "What's he, like 200 pounds? He can't. He was good at Georgia, but I was not a Nakobe Dean fan. I'm still not a Nakobe. Apparently a great guy, but but he's not big enough." And then they signed Devin White, who was good, but something he don't stop the run either. Well, but the way they're putting rules in now, you're not allowed to tackle anybody anyway. So what's the difference?
That's another story.
Just try to hold them the field goals, and when you score Eagles are going to score a lot of points this year. Their offense, if they stay healthy, Barkley, Smith, and Brown and Goddard, that's some firepower. Problem is,
all right, Mark, you ready for your big board? You said you put one together. Who's going, in the top 10? Who's going to, fill out the second half of the draft?
All right. Well, how do you want me to attack this first? But the quarterbacks are going. There'll be 4 quarterbacks in the first 5 picks.
Okay.
All right, and then Marvin Harrison from St. Joe's Prep. I don't know how he'll go to Arizona at 4. And he's the best player in the draft, by the way.
Marvin Harrison.
Oh, he's tremendous. Yeah. He's going to be better than his dad, I think. And his dad was great, great. He's and Marvin. If I had the first pick, I would take Marvin Harrison. I really would. I think. Well, I mean, the Bears can't now because they don't have a quarterback. So yeah, right. That would be kind of a waste to have Marvin Harrison and have nobody to throw the ball to him. But I think
hey Mark, let me interrupt you because Chet keeps putting this graphic up there showing Drake May as the number 1 quarterback and Caleb Williams number 2.
It doesn't mean he's going number 1. It's just whoever put this together thought he is the best. But yeah, right. Williams is likely going to Chicago.
Does anybody really think that?
I was going to say, which one of Drake May's relatives put that up?
Drake May have a relative who works for this organization.
No, I'm not a Drake May fan. Listen. I wanted to like Drake May. Excuse me. And I see a lot of ACC football down here, South in the SEC. I'm down here. There's a lot of North Carolina fans down here, and I watch. There's something like. And again, the quarterback doesn't win games by himself. I'm well aware of that. You need a team. But he had a decent team. They were ranked in the top 10 before preseason. Then they went out. They lost to Virginia. Virginia might have been the worst Power 5 school in the country last year. Yeah. They were awful. If you're a top quarterback, if you're the best quarterback in the draft, even if you're a top 3 quarter, you got to find a way to beat Virginia just by accident. I don't care who you have around you or who's doing. You got to beat Virginia. And then he comes back the next week and loses to Georgia Tech, who's not very good. So if you, I don't know. I wouldn't. If my team took Drake May, I'd be a little scared. Now I love
give us some of the highlights. Who are the Commanders taking at number 2? And give us some of the other prospects.
Williams is going to go 1, and he's Williams. He's a little different, but he's a good quarterback. There's no doubt about that. I like Jaden Daniels. I'm a Jaden Daniels guy. I think he won the Heisman for a reason. He reminds me of Randall Cunningham, and I say that in the most complimentary way because I love Randall Cunningham. He's built like him. He can run like him. He has he's not just a running quarterback. He has a great arm too. So I really like Jaden Daniels. He goes to Washington. Look out. Washington could be this year's Houston. And I like Penix.
Who you got following up?
After Daniels?
Yeah.
Well, I know somebody's going to probably take Drake May. And then they'll be sorry. Then Harrison will go to the Cardinals. The Chargers, now there could be a trade. Minnesota's dying to get up, and they're going to have to give up the world, but they probably will. But if it stays the way it is, I'm told that the Chargers love Joe Alt, the big tackle from Notre Dame.
Yep. I
think he'll go there. Harbaugh loves offensive linemen. I love Joe Alt simply because his name is Joe Alt. It's easy to write. It's easy to spell. You don't have to look it up. If you ever get his autograph, it's only going to take up this much room on the paper. I mean, yeah. So as a writer, who's better than Joe Alt? But no, he's a great player too.
How about the Giants at 6?
It depends. Now, I could almost see this happening, and I don't predict trades because it's hard to do. But I could almost see the Giants and Cardinals flip-flopping 4 and 6. Like if you know the Chargers are going to take Alt, if that's a fact, and from what I'm told, it's almost a fact. But anything could happen draft night. If you're the Cardinals, you get the Giants to give you, a couple other picks to move from 6 to 4, and then the Giants take J.J. McCarthy at 4, and the Cardinals could still get Harrison at 6. See, J.J. McCarthy's another guy that I'm just not sure about.
No,
he's a winner. Neither. He's a winner. There's no doubt about that. His record at Michigan was incredible. But I mean, I don't know. I watched Michigan because they were so good. You had to watch. But they ran the ball so well. But I mean, did they run it because he's not that good, or did they run it because why not? Nobody could stop us running it, so we just kept running it. But I didn't see him. He didn't do enough for me to take him that high. I don't know. I don't know. That's the one guy in the draft that I don't want to say he's going to be bad because he might turn out to be real good. I don't know, but I'm just I don't know. That was
the one guy I had on my paper, J.J. McCarthy. I just don't see
it.
Like it. I don't see it at that high, especially if the Vikings are going to trade up and give the farm away to get him.
I would sit at 11. If he's there, then maybe I take him. But I like Penix. I like Michael Penix.
And how about Bo Nix? Do you like Bo Nix?
A little bit. He's not as much as Penix, but he's going to go first round. I think everyone tells me Denver loves Bo Nix. So look for that. Denver might, and they could probably trade. Denver's going to want to trade down. If the Eagles are indeed looking to trade up, that could be a partner in the trade. They're picking what, 12? Is that what it is? Denver 11,
yeah.
12? 12.
Yep, 12.
So 22 to 12, it would cost you a second. Because Denver, let's keep Denver in mind. They're bad. I mean, they need a lot of people, and they haven't had, they gave up a lot of picks over the last couple of years in that Russell Wilson trade. So they need to replenish. So I think that's one team that is looking to get a few more picks and move out of that 12 spot. So if the Eagles really want it, like Terry and Arnold, the corner we talked about, or they really want Byron Murphy and he's still there at 12, they could do that. I wouldn't be too shocked.
Hey, Mark, before we get to the Eagles, let me ask you, that 9 pick with the Bears, they're going to get Williams at 1. Do you see them getting Odunze at 9? That would be be a killer.
They could. That very well could happen. I mean, I think they need help on the offensive line, but if Odunze's there, why not put that combination together like the way the Bengals did with Burrow and Jamar Chase, right? Or keep those guys happy.
All right, Mark. Two final things. The two that everybody around here cares about. The Eagles at number 22, the Cowboys at number 24.
Okay, the Eagles. I gave them a guy. You're going to like this, Chet. You're going to like this a lot. I gave him Chop Robinson from Penn State.
There you go.
He's a baller.
He's a pass rusher. We just said that the Eagles, how many sacks did they lose by losing Cox and Reddick? Right? That's a lot of and Graham isn't what he was.
Right.
So, I mean, they have Huff who can get to a quarterback, but like I said, I'm not sure and Sweat, but like I said, Sweat's in the last year of his deal. Those guys up front, they're not, Davis isn't they stopped the run a little bit, but they're not really pure pass. They need when the Eagles are good, when their defense is good, they're getting to the quarterback, right? The year they went to the Super Bowl, then they almost set a record for sacks or something.
Yeah, 70 plus. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't make the secondary better. When you have a great pass rush, it makes the linebacker, it makes everybody better. So
Like Chop, he's got to be good, right?
Yeah, Chop Robinson, right? Why not? And they don't. When the last time the Eagles took a Penn State guy that high? Been a while.
Kenny Jackson, maybe way back.
That's before I started covering them.
Way back.
Miles Sanders was second.
He was second round, yeah.
Second round.
First round. I don't think they've taken the Penn State guy in the first round.
All right, Cowboys at 24.
I gave them the big tackle from Georgia, Amarius Mims.
Oh yeah,
he's their kind of guy. He's they love those. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? So take a 6'8".
He's a big guy.
He's 6'8", 340.
Yeah, that's huge.
Big. So yeah, I think they need help on the offensive line. They could go defensive back maybe, but I don't think that. See, I have the defensive backs getting a run in the middle there, like 15, 16, 17, like in that middle. I think most of your good, the top corners. So why at that point wait and get one in the second round, right? There's a lot of good ones you can get in the second round. TJ Tampa, Max Melton, Rickeshaw from Missouri. There's a lot of guys there. So yeah, I gave Dallas the big tackle Mims. They care about their offensive line, and that's a good fit for them, I think.
Hey, Mark, I have two final things for you before Chet wants to do a little 3 and out. So let me get my 2 things in here. I'm giving the Georgia players from last year's draft a little bit of a pass because I think the coordinator, the whole defensive scheme stunk. So I'm giving them a little bit of a pass on that. They didn't turn into bad football players, I don't think. What's your take on that? And did they pick the wrong guys?
No, Carter is a good player. I mean, I'm not crazy about his off the field stuff. Right. That would have turned me off. But as a football player, he's fine. He had an okay. I mean, like I said, he kind of tailed off and probably got a little hit that rookie wall a little bit maybe. Smith, I mean, again, I don't think he's big enough. Georgia had a great scheme. They really did, and they had to. And they all looked good because they played great together. They had those 2 guys, and they had the kid that Green Bay has, Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt, and the guy that went real early to Jacksonville. I forget, is it Walker? Wasn't it Tyron something Walker? Anyway, it was a great. And Kirby Smart's a great coach too. So they did the right. I mean, Georgia's great. They have a great program. They've been great. And like I said, I think Carter. I'm not worried about Carter. Smith, I think he got it. You're right. He wasn't coached right. That did help him. And he's got to be put in the right spot and in the right scheme and in the right situation. 3-4 will probably help him more, I think. Mm-hmm. We'll see. But I'd like to see him get a little bigger, a little stronger.
Gotcha. My final thing for you, Mark, obviously everybody knows you have a long history with that Andy Reid. He won another Super Bowl. He's now number 5 on the all-time list of wins. What do you think about Big Red these days and winning football games?
Listen, I never had a problem with Andy as a coach. I mean, some of his time management wasn't always good in Philly. He's gotten better. Listen, he learned. He's a better coach in Kansas City than he was in Philly. I don't think anybody can argue that, right? I mean, right. I think he learned from some of his mistakes that he made. I mean, my problems with Andy were more the way he treated us, or me especially, but he was terrible he didn't, I was tired of him telling me he has to put the players in the bed. Just do it already. Stop telling me you're going to,
That's coach speak, right?
Yeah, he didn't. He was, again, I don't. Andy's Andy, and we had our moments, good and bad. Listen, there's some good things. I mean, everybody knows the bad things about me and Andy, but he used to tell Derek Boyko, the Eagles' longtime PR guy, who's one of the best in the PR business. He used to tell Andy, because we used to do one-on-ones with Andy prior to the season, like during training camp. Each writer would sit down with Andy for about maybe 20 minutes, half hour, and we could ask him anything we want. It was all like, most of it was off the record. Now, if you wanted something on the record, you'd say, "Oh, Andy, I want to write. Listen, I need this on any." But a lot of it was just talk football, talk anything. And Andy would tell Derek, I really enjoy the ones I do with Mark better than anybody. How come we don't like each other?
Really?
And Derek would say, because Mark doesn't always write what you want him to write.
That's funny.
So that's part of it. Andy again, and I think he's eased up. Kansas City's a much different media market than Philadelphia too. I think he fits there better. He came from Green Bay, which was another totally different media market than Philly. Andy tried to control us, and he did control a lot of people. He'd tell them, "Oh yeah," and he tried to control me, but as my wife says, I'm uncontrollable.
All right, Mark. Let's see if we can control you in a little game of 3 and out.
Let's go. I used to like fast 5, but okay, I'll play 3.
I know. Hey, we talk too much, so we can only do 3. Here we go. Number 1. We're pretty confident Jason Kelce is a Hall of Famer. What are the chances Fletcher Cox makes it to Canton?
Not first ballot, that's for sure.
No.
Maybe down the road, possibility. He'll get votes. It's going to be tough though. Hall of Fame. I'm tough on Hall of Fame. I think you got it. He'll be Eagles Hall of Fame, guaranteed that. Yeah. But at Canton, I'm not sure. I'm going to just say I'm not sure.
Number 2, who's going to have a better career, Jalen Hurts or your guy in Green Bay, Jordan Love?
Oh, Jordan Love.
Seriously.
Jordan Love, he's better. There's a reason he went 20 picks higher than that. You watch Jordan Love last year?
Yeah, he was good. You
watch what he did against Dallas?
Okay, but Hurts had the great year the year before, and people kind of caught up with him a little bit. Maybe that'll be the same thing with Love. We'll see. We'll see. You could be right. You never know.
Well, for the record, Chet, would you rather have Love or get hurt? I'd rather be Love.
I don't know, man. That's tough.
You rather get
hurt? For the record, folks, this guy also liked the Jalen Reagor draft pick.
No. See, you got that all wrong. I didn't like Reagor. I was telling you that the Eagles liked him. I knew the Eagles.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, if you say
and
so.
I was right. They did love him.
Number 3, and finally, what are the chances the 76ers will come back to win their series against the Knicks?
I'm not really an NBA guy, but they're down 2-0, right?
Yes, they are.
If any team down 2-0 has a chance, because I don't think the Knicks are that great, although they do have those Villanova boys.
Yeah.
I would say it's, you want me to put a number on it? I would say it's 58-42.
Whoa, see, that shocked me. I thought you were like just anti-76ers. So.
Oh, no, I used to have season tickets.
Okay.
I'll take that. I don't watch NBA that much anymore because nobody cares about it down here.
I got you. All
right, Mark, I can't let you go because we're not going to see you again for who knows how long. So I have one more question for you.
Go ahead.
Regarding Jalen Hurts, you got to watch him. What happened? Everybody, a lot of the people around Philadelphia think, well, the guy stinks now.
No, he doesn't stink.
Again, was the coaching that bad? Was the offensive scheme that bad? What happened to Jalen Hurts?
That's a great question. If I knew that, they probably would have hired me to be coordinator. But I like, and when I said Love's better, I really, really like Jordan Love. But I think Hurts is still talented. I think having his buddy as coordinator was that was just a match that you thought, oh, that'd be great, right? No, because I don't think he was held accountable enough.
Yeah.
And I think some of the players on the team, and this is just me reading tea leaves and hearing some things from some people. I think he was, a lot of the other players were kind of looking, oh yeah, well, Jalen doesn't get blamed for anything. Jalen doesn't do anything. It's always my fault. It's this guy. And I think that's not a good locker room mix. So I think having Kellen Moore, who hasn't known him since he was a kid, he might, he's got it. Listen, from everything I know about Jalen Hurts is nobody outworks him, right? You hear the stories that he's there early in the morning, he stays late, he works hard. So he's going to work hard. He's going to have a good, I think he's going to have a good bounce. Like I told you earlier, the Eagles are going to score points this year. I just don't know if they're going to stop the other team from scoring any points.
Right. All right. That wraps it up, I think, Mark. As always, we appreciate you coming by. Enjoy the draft. Get back on the porch and get some sun and a cold drink and relax.
All right. I'm good at all that.
There you go.
All right.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
All right. Hey, Chet, man, that was awesome.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Hey, let's give a shout out to all the shows at the Edge of Philly Sports Network this week. The gang, as always, has all the bases covered. You can catch all the action on www.eopsports.com, as well as Edge of Philly Sports on YouTube. You can also find our show on the Philly Press Box Radio YouTube channel. Please help us out by hitting those subscribe, follow, and like buttons. And as always, share with your family and friends. As you can see, we got it going on every day. And Chet, you might notice that Monday mornings, 8 o'clock, and every other morning, we have Phil Stifle and Trending in the AM, 8 a.m., where your opinions actually matter. So check that out. It's a new new addition to EOP Sports, and check Phil out. I think you're going to like it.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, Chet, tell us what's going on over at the Irish Rover Station House this week.
Always lots of fun stuff at the Irish Rover, Bill. You know that. The Irish Rover has Quizzo and prime rib dinners every Wednesday evening. They have terrific dinner specials Thursday through Sunday. The filet marsala and black and blue chicken both sound great this weekend. Live music Saturday night. This weekend it is Ron D. James making his Rover debut. Oh, check out these specials tomorrow. The Phillies have an afternoon game, and in connection with that, they have $2 hot dogs, at the Irish Rover, and Bud Light buckets, Ultra and Bud drafts, just $3. And then later in the day, it is pint night, courtesy Yards. Yeah, get a Yards Pale Ale, and you get to keep the pint. And start thinking about these great events coming up in early May. It's an Irish bar, but the Rover's going to celebrate Cinco de Mayo all weekend, May 2nd through the 5th, with all sorts of food and drink specials. And then May 12th is Mother's Day, always a big day at the Irish Rover, so make your reservations now. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Check the website, irishroverstationhouse.com. And, oh, Bill, check this out. Look who's here.
Bill, there's a 10th anniversary I heard about.
Really?
Bill and Chet from Philly Press Box Radio. It's the 10th anniversary, and let me tell you, I could not be more proud. How about you? Are you proud?
I am. Congratulations to both of you guys, Bill and Chet.
Do you remember what you were doing 10 years ago?
I don't.
He doesn't. See, that's
10
a long
years
time.
ago. 10 years on the radio. Congratulations, guys.
Happy anniversary to Philly Press Box. Bill and Chet, you guys are the greatest. Thanks for having me on. It's a great show. I can't wait to see you guys next time I'm on. Happy anniversary.
Good stuff right there. They're coming from everywhere, Chet, and we certainly
indeed.
Appreciate it. Good stuff.
I love to see those fat Mez guys.
How about that? Fat Mez sighting. Here we go, right here live on Philly Press Box Radio. Hey, Chet, Sixers are in big trouble after everything went wrong in the end of game 2, falling behind 2-0 to the Knicks. But let's go back to game 1 when Joel goes down again, misses some time, does come back. Where do you want to start?
Oh, man. These two games both took a lot out of me, like I said at the top. Could have won both of them, of course. Then the Embiid injury on that bizarre play where he throws it off the backboard to himself. Very impressive. He slams it home and then, of course, lands badly on the injured left knee. I thought he was done for the series, but came back in the second half, and it was a close game. They lost. Second game, he was clearly not 100%, but he played well. He's got something going on with his eye, too. His left eye is like not shutting properly, and he's like only blinking with the right eye. They're not saying anything about that. Again, great game, down to the wire. You blow a 5-point lead in the last half minute. The NBA confirms that there were a couple of calls blown, but I'm not going to blame the refs. They had the chance, the Sixers did, to win that game. But there were some bad plays on their part. Buddy Hield couldn't make a shot. He looks like he's scared to death out there. I don't know. The good thing is they're coming back home, and Embiid said all the right things, even though he kept his head down in the interview post-game the other night. He thinks they're going to win this series. And you know what? He says so, and so does Boop. Boop, our buddy Bob Vitrone Jr. posted this afternoon. He's got these same 3 words going through his brain. Sixers in 6. Boop, I hope you're right. I like the way you think.
Well, I something that bothers me, Chet. You know, Embiid is going to get his if he's on the court. Maxi's going to get his. But, while Embiid was out, one of the guys that kind of stepped up was Oubre. And in both games, if I'm correct, I believe I am on this, he took 7 shots in game 1 and 7 shots in game 2. Now, that's a guy that's been playing good ball for you. They disappear. Tobias Harris disappears. Lowry disappears. So you've got 2 guys out there running the court. That's where the ball's going. That is not a good recipe for winning. And they have a short bench on top of it.
Yeah, Oubre and Harris definitely did not play up to snuff. Kyle Lowry, though, I thought played pretty well. And, he probably should have called a timeout in that final or next to last possession under the basket when the coach was screaming for one. So that was a mistake on his part. But Lowry's been okay for a 38-year-old guy playing 38 minutes or whatever. I'm going to give him a pass. But coming back,
my point on that is more that I believe he only took 12 shots.
Yeah.
I thought he played a pretty good floor game as well, but he only took 12 shots. So you need contribution.
Yeah, and Kelly Oubre has got to get to the basket more often as well because, coming down the stretch late in the season, he was playing pretty well and getting them a lot of points. He had a couple of 20-point games, and he looked very aggressive. He's not as aggressive here in the postseason. And you said this all year that you'd like to see more balance beyond the two big guys. The Knicks have that. They have like 5 guys in double figures. The Sixers had barely 3. I think Harris had 10 points the other night. So, yeah, would love to see more guys contributing. But I think the Sixers are definitely going to win game 3. And then you got to, take it one game at a time and get it back to 2-2. And then anything can happen. So I'm not writing them off yet. Of course, I'm counting on Embiid to stay healthy, which is always a question mark.
Yeah, well, and I think we certainly want them to win, but I think they're going to have to play better. They're just going to have to be better, and it can't be 2 guys. Everybody's got to chip in if they're going to even win game 3. You can't get 40 from Embiid and 35 from Maxey and expect to win. They've got to have more.
Yeah, I love Maxey. I mean, yeah, he had that little mistake at the end also. Of course, the refs missed the call there too, but Maxey does not look scared at all. We know that. He was named the comeback player of the year or most improved player of the year. So congrats to him on that. I'm not writing the series off yet for sure. I don't, as Mark said, I don't think the Knicks are an amazing team. They are definitely beatable. A lot of the odds makers had the Sixers favored to win this series going into it. So I think there's going to be a lot of basketball beyond this Sunday still. So we got Thursday, game 3, and then Sunday afternoon, game 4. And I'm looking for at least a couple of more games after that.
Well, we will see because I think they're going to have their hands full. They're going to just have to play better, and we'll see.
Easy.
Yeah. All right. More to come.
More to come.
Thing. I will ask this because we don't like to complain about the referees here or the umpires too much on Philly Press Box Radio, but what did you make of the whole game from the referees? Not just last minute or last 30 seconds.
Yeah, they missed a lot. And you got to be consistent too. If you're going to call something one way, consistently bad.
Yeah, they were pretty bad. Yeah. I mean, was it your take as well that they just didn't referee a very good game from the start?
Yeah, but I'm used to that. And in their defense, calling an NBA game is really, really difficult because there's pushing and shoving going on the whole time. So it's tough. I think it and football are the 2 toughest sports to referee. Baseball, Angel Hernandez makes it look difficult, but that's easier.
Yeah, apparently calling balls and strikes isn't very easy these days either.
Get him out of there, will you?
That's right.
Let's go tailgating, Bill.
Let's go. Tell us what's going on with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia, Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates.
Yeah, Bob Cavanaugh and his Philly Tailgates has been cooking up terrific catering business for more than 30 years. You know Cav for his tailgate parties. He is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgates, Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest, and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs also does corporate events and parties, you name it. Check the website, phillytailgates.com. And if you have any questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go. Cav works with the guys at Philly Sports Trips as well. Vince and company, they are the folks to use for all Eagles road games and more. Check out the schedule they have coming up, man. Numerous Phillies trips this summer: Boston, Baltimore, Chicago, Pittsburgh, London, of course, in early June. Plus, they have a trip to the Kentucky Derby in Louisville, which actually starts in Nashville. That is in early May. Yeah, you go to Nashville, then you take the 3-hour bus trip to Kentucky for the Derby. That is going to be a great time. And of course, they're going to Brazil for the Eagles-Packers season opener. That is a week-long trip. And by the way, Bill, just announced from the guys at Philly Sports Trips, they are doing an October trip to Los Angeles to see Penn State battle USC in their first ever meeting as Big Ten opponents. So that's going to be fun. Check out the trips and all the other stuff at phillysportstrips.com.
That's interesting because that is circled on my calendar. I don't have tickets for that and don't have plans yet, but I've always wanted to go see a game at the Coliseum. And I've been to the Coliseum on the outside.
And now you can see Penn State play USC there
right.
every 2 years.
I always thought it would be like a USC, UCLA, or USC Notre Dame, maybe. Now Penn State's in the Big, or USC's in the Big Ten.
Yep.
I'm kind of liking that thought. I have to see how that one goes.
Second or third weekend in October, it's happening.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, hey, Chet, Phillies won 7 in a row before last night. They're ahead, thanks to Robert Moser. They're ahead 2-1 tonight. They're beating the teams they should beat, and the starting pitching has just been fantastic throughout the rotation so far.
You know, I was looking at the stats today, the pitching. The Phillies have a team ERA of 3.33, which is first in the National League, 7th overall. There are 6 American League teams with better ERA, believe it or not. WHIP, walks and hits per innings pitched, 1.15. That is first in the National League, 4th overall. And batting average against Phillies pitching, 216. That is first in the National League. And second, I can't remember writing, second or third overall, second, in Major League Baseball. So the pitching has been great outside of last night when it was really more defensive miscues. They had 3 errors. On that recent homestand, when they went, 8-2, they were just so darn good in terms of fundamentals and, defensively. And then they won the first game in Cincinnati with another great outing. Last night, hey, you're going to have those kind of games. Blowout, no big deal. So, they've been terrific. And Spencer Turnbull on the mound tonight. Now we have that big dilemma because you got Turnbull pitching well, and you got Taijuan Walker back and ready to go. He's going to pitch this Sunday. We still don't know exactly whether it's going to be a 6-man rotation for the short term or whether Turnbull's eventually, going to go back to the bullpen because he's never pitched, 150 innings or whatever for the full season. So it's going to be interesting to see how Topper handles all that if Turnbull continues to pitch well.
Well, I'm sure he'll read it off an analytics sheet on what he's supposed to do. That's for sure. But I'm not breaking up the 5 that are going. Go with the hot hand. Either. I'd put Walker in the bullpen, tell him to get used to it. If somebody falters, somebody gets hurt, fine. Then you move them up. But I'm not disrupting what's working. And I don't care if they're playing the not-so-good teams. You got to beat the not-so-good teams to be ready for the good teams and stay in the hunt. Last year, they couldn't stay in the hunt. And they were out of it by July 1st. So,
and it wasn't like Taijuan Walker did anything great in his couple of rehab starts. He gave up, 4 earned runs in a game against AAA on Sunday. So, I don't think he's going to win the job. So unless they're just going to give him the job because he's got the big contract, which I hope doesn't happen, it's going to be interesting, though. So we will keep our eyes on that.
I'm not forgiving anybody a job. That's for sure. Let the guys that are playing well play well. When it comes to the bats, though, it's certainly not hitting season because we got a whole lot of guys who aren't hitting. They're getting enough runs to beat the bad teams, but we got a lot of guys not swinging the bats real well.
Yeah, we're starting to see. Well, Trey Turner has really picked it up. He's over 300. Johan Rojas, nobody wants to send him back down to the minors now because he's hitting. What?
I'll send
you do.
I will right now.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
He had a great week, and he's getting some infield hits too. Still playing great defense.
A week. Come on, man.
Wow, give this guy a chance. He's been terrific lately. He's 4th or 5th on the team in batting average. Bill,
put Brandon Marsh in center field and leave him alone. Come on.
I got to educate you, Bill. So
often. You do.
Getting tired of it. Getting tired of it, my friend.
10 years and you have failed miserably.
Yeah, I know. You're
what about your leadoff hitter that keeps striking out again? He's headed down.
Same as last year. And they keep winning with him, Bill. It's all about the W's, isn't it?
Oh, my
So let's stick with it.
It is, but we're headed back to 200. And
that's where he's comfortable.
He's
also leading the team in home runs with 6. So it's the same as last year. Going to hit 200 with 200 strikeouts and 45 homers.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to get better. The hitting's going to get better. As Charlie said, it's not hitting season yet. They're still wearing hoodies to the games. It's not time for all that. But I think the hitting will come. Harper will come around. Certainly hope Castellanos comes around because he's stinking it up.
He finally got an extra base hit the other day.
He did. He got 3 hits in one game.
Any word on Bryce and baby number 3? Has that happened yet?
I have not heard that it has, but he's certainly away. Cody Clemens, good job.
Yeah, how about Cody going deep?
Comes up and hits a 3-run bomb to get things going. So we'll see how it works out, but just stay in the hunt, keep winning series one at a time, and 2 out of 3 every series, and you're going to be hanging around at the end.
We're going to talk more baseball in the weeks ahead, but we got a good show coming up next week, Bill. It's a special one.
Well, tell us who's coming to Philly Press Box Radio. Can they top Mark Eckel on football tonight?
It is tough to top. Mark was very good, but as we've alluded to, Bill, and Fat Mez and Freddie Barnett mentioned, we are marking our 10th anniversary very soon. In fact, it is next week. It was April 30th, 2014, as we mentioned, that we did our first show. So next week, being May 1st, when we are back, we will celebrate the occasion with a special show. We'll do some, remembrances of our 10 years together, and we will have a special guest. He is not only one of our absolute favorites, he is a Hall of Famer. You know him. You love him. It is Ray Didinger, the Hall of Fame journalist, and a wonderful human being to boot, who said he would be happy to join us on our 10th anniversary show. I think we had him on our 4th anniversary and our 5th anniversary shows, too. The return of Ray Didinger to Philly Press Box Radio. We will review the Birds draft with Ray Diddy and have a little fun, too. So mark your calendars for this one, folks. Next Wednesday, May 1st, Ray Diddy and us. We're going to celebrate, and we're going to formally kick off year 11, Bill.
Fantastic. Always great to have Ray. And the thing about Ray is, he's a football guy, but he can talk anything. He's a sports fan. We can go anywhere we want with him, and let's keep him the whole hour, Chet. Let's just keep him. He's a treasure. We could have kept Mark for an hour tonight, I think, and talk draft.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't even get to ask him half the questions I had in my mind. I wanted to ask him about Jeremiah Trotter Jr., for example. Where's he going to go? Is he going to fall to the second round? Probably a second-round pick. Is any chance the Eagles taking him? I don't know. Who knows?
The thing I missed asking him is the Eagles-Packers in Brazil.
I know. That was on our list, too.
Yeah, certainly one that we missed asking Mark.
Here's what I'm thinking. Since Mark, has a lot of free time, I think we get him back on in August ahead of the Eagles-Packers season opener.
There you go. Good idea.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, you talked about a little celebration coming up next Wednesday. As Whitey would say, Chet, it's hard to believe.
It is. 10
but
years.
I'll say hard to believe, Chet.
Yeah, we're gonna go back in time, and next week we will discuss how it all began, and maybe some of our favorite guests, some of our least favorite guests. I don't know.
I don't think I have any least favorite guests.
No, we've done pretty well.
I can't think of anybody that we've had in 10 years that after we were done the show, I said to myself, I wish we didn't have that person.
There were maybe one or two, but I'm not going to mention them out loud.
I don't remember them. I don't remember them. I remember having one that we had to wait on because he was walking his dog. I remember that one, but he was good when he got here.
Yeah, and we've only got blown off once or twice. So, we've been very fortunate. Everybody's been very cooperative. So we must be doing something right.
I guess. What else you got?
Well, a few things, Bill.
Rest in peace, Roman Gabriel. How could we?
That's exactly where I was going right here, Bill. We lost Roman Gabriel. Great LA Ram. Well, not great, pretty darn good LA Rams quarterback. And then he had a couple of memorable years with the Eagles and the old Fire High gang in the early 70s. Roman Gabriel was pretty darn good quarterback, and he passed away last week at the age of 89, was it, or 83?
83.
83. Okay. Roman Gabriel. Yeah, he was 83. You're right. We also lost this guy, Joe Pellegrino. Joe Pellegrino, worked in the media. He was there when Action News began in the early 70s at Channel 6 with Larry Kane preceding Jim Gardner. And then he went on and also worked at Channel 10 in Philly. I've seen him in recent years at the Philadelphia Sports Writers Association banquet. He was there almost every year. I don't think he made it this year, but almost every year he would be there, and he would, in fact, sing the national anthem. So Joe Pellegrino,
no
we
kidding.
lost. Yeah.
And and I didn't know this, Chet. When Joe left Philly, he left to become the radio voice. I think it was the radio voice of the Detroit Tigers.
I do remember that. Yeah. How about
Yeah.
that?
I did not know that. How about it?
Joe Pellegrino. Another thing, Bill, I want to say best wishes to David Jones of Penn Live and the Harrisburg Patriot News. He is officially retiring as of this Friday. So he's been a guest on our show 4 or 5 times, covering Penn State basketball and football, writing columns for the Patriot News and Penn Live, and just a great all-around guy. So we want to say best wishes to Dave. Enjoy your retirement. You're still relatively young, so hey, have some fun.
Hey, one thing I wanted to say about Roman Gabriel that I thought was really interesting, Chet, in that 73 season with the high five and all that, and he won comeback player of the year. But that was all pre-Dick Vermeil. And did you know that in the 5 years that Gabriel was with the Eagles?
Was it 5?
5 years. He won.
Wow, I thought it was 3.
12 games. He only won 12 games. He was 5-8-1, 4-7, 2-7, 1-3, and played in 13 games his last year and didn't start any of them through 3 passes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't remember all the specifics.
I think people our age think very highly of Roman Gabriel as a player. I don't think anybody would have thought that he only won 12 games here. And right after that, Dick Vermeil comes to town. And for anybody under the age that was born after 1970 or so, who's never suffered through losing Eagles football in the long haul, it was right after Roman Gabriel, and right then Dick Vermeil became the Eagles head coach.
Yeah, the early 70s were not a lot of fun for Eagles fans.
Nope. How about that?
Hey, speaking of things that were fun, though, last week, Bill, I was at the Darren Dalton Foundation, and their spring dinger, and Ricky Batalico was there. Ruben Amaro Jr., our pal Steve Jeltz, Jack Fritz from WIP, had a great time hanging out with him. And Kevin Stalker, had a lot of fun talking to him as well. And the important thing is they raised over $10,000 courtesy of this event for the Darren Dalton Foundation. So it was a lot of fun, great turnout, great buffet, and of course, beer. So it was a good time over in Trevose. Congratulations to everybody involved with the Darren Dalton Foundation. They did a great job.
Was that a sold out event?
I don't know if it was
like an
sold out
open
or
door, right? Because it was just at a pub, right? I mean,
it was at it was called the 1625 at the Ridges or something like that. I always screw up the name. So I think it's like a hall, like a banquet hall kind of thing, but they have a couple of bars in there. But it was $100 a head. But that got you, time with all these former Phillies. It got you a buffet and open bar. So well worth it.
Yeah. So if you got $50 worth of stuff and you gave $50 to the cause, you had a good night.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a good time.
All right. Anything else before we wrap it up?
That is about it. I want to say, go Sixers, go Phillies. Let's win another one. I got nothing else.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Thank tonight's special guest, Mark Eckel. Our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, May the 1st at 7 p.m. for our 10th anniversary show. We're looking forward to it. You can see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Press Box Radio YouTube channel, and listen to Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. And Chet, how about a let's go Sixers?
Let's go Sixers. But you know what? I have this queued up because it's draft week.
Let's do the song.